According to the CDC, the flu vaccination reduced the risk of severe flu in children by 70%, while it was also 76% effective at preventing life-threatening influenza hospitalizations during the 2019-2020 flu season. Today I'll be presenting 3 arguments about vaccination mandates for children under the ages of 18 in the state of Idaho. Currently in Idaho, there is no legislation on vaccinations. The only is minors' requirements for school admission. Idaho Statute 39-4801 requires any child of any age, preschool through grade 12, of any school operating in the state of Idaho, the parent or guardian must prove proof of immunity to certain childhood diseases upon admission. Proof of immunity via immunizations has to be approved by a licensed medical professional, and also by contracting and having such virus also needs to be approved by a medical professional. Most of us know nowadays parents have A, B, and C excuses on why not to vaccinate their children, and still end up enrolling them in either public or private school. I stand with childhood immunizations and give children the chance to have the best health possible. I don't personally have any children, and I was immunized as a baby and growing up by my parents, but as I worked as a healthcare worker through the global pandemic known as COVID, I experienced firsthand of people passing that did not believe in vaccinations, and I took an interest into kind of what goes along with vaccinations and not just the mandate behind them and the process, especially with children. After doing a lot of research, I believe that they are vital for communities to get immunity and be as safe as possible and stay healthy. If children under the age of 18 are mandated to get routine vaccinations, good health will start young, and hopefully it'll carry on throughout their lives. Today I will be presenting why vaccination should be mandated in the state of Idaho for all children under the age of 18. First, mandating vaccinations would reduce the risk of contracting common and life-threatening illnesses, not just for children, but also for geriatrics or our elderly, adults, immunocompromised people, and etc. Second, mandating vaccinations would give every child a chance to have their best possible health, starting them out on the right foot by vaccinating them and giving them more immunity would put them a step forward from others. Third, despite the opposition's claim that mandating vaccinations are not made for children because they're safe enough. A lot of people believe that vaccinations aren't made for children, so we shouldn't be giving them to children. Now that you know that what I will be presenting today, let's dive into some controversial topics of vaccinations. First, if the state of Idaho were to mandate vaccinations for children under 18, it would reduce the risk of common and life-threatening diseases. According to Jonathan Kennedy, highly contagious diseases such as measles require 90 to 95% vaccination in children to achieve herd immunity. Herd immunity is when the disease becomes so controlled and everyone has enough immunity that it will not get spread. Ideally, herd immunity is done through vaccination, but as a lot of us know, nowadays people believe that herd immunity is getting a mild version of the disease and essentially exposing yourself to gain immunity. Definitely not the case. If a single community were to achieve that 90 to 90% vaccination, and the next community, so on, the state of Idaho would have very low rates of transmission among the kids of 18. Children under 18. Not only children under 18 would get this herd immunity, adults would, because there would be no grimy kids to spread it. If the state of Idaho mandates vaccinations for children under the 18, herd immunity would automatically be achieved. According to Ben Joseph, in an article about herd immunity, when 7 to 8 out of 10 people and children in the community have herd immunity from vaccination, it essentially protects the whole community, and even those who are unvaccinated. When people get vaccinations, it does save those unvaccinated people, but it doesn't save them from getting the disease in general. It just helps, the vaccination helps decrease the viral load. So those unvaccinated people will therefore get it worse. According to Dr. Anthony Fauci, MD, we've all heard his name around here, herd immunity will not be achieved in the United States if children go unvaccinated. Therefore, vaccinations are very, very important in children, adults, babies. After achieving herd immunity through mandated vaccinations and reducing the risk of common to life-threatening diseases, next, let's address how the vaccination mandate would give every child the best possible health. Second, by mandating vaccinations in children under 18, it would give every child the best possible health, a step forward to a long life of good health. Unvaccinated children do not have the same opportunity as vaccinated children in achieving overall good health, since they are at a higher risk of contracting infectious diseases and developing deadly diseases. Vaccinations are the most important thing to keep ourselves and our children protect ourselves and our children against ill health. Children vaccinations are not only to prevent from viral and bacterial diseases, but it can also prevent from some cancers. When you skip some immunizations such as Hep B and HPV, there are risks of developing cancers. Cancers are viruses, essentially, where your cells divide more than they're supposed to. With these vaccinations, it can prevent that from happening down the road or even any day. Now that we have discussed 2 ways mandating vaccinations in children under the age of 18 will positively impact the state of Idaho, the third is the opposing: safety. A lot of people believe that safety is not a thing in child vaccinations. They believe that it's just an adult dose given to children, which is very, very incorrect. I will refute this argument in 3 ways. I will expose the inconsistencies that many parents don't want their children to get vaccinated because they are not made for children. Like I said a second ago, it can be a safety issues at the same time receiving the same vaccinations as themselves. The parents get the vaccinations but won't let their kids get the vaccinations because it's not a good dose. The U.S. has very strict approval processes on which vaccination goes with which age group or health status. Immunocompromised people get a higher dose of the flu vaccinations, as well as our 65 and older group. Up till they're 8 children, when they're born, to up till they're 18, get a low dose or half dose according to their health status as well. Potential side effects that come along with vaccinations are very uncommon, and they usually are a lot less severe than the actual disease itself. It decreases that disease and gives you a cough in the meantime. If parents themselves are so willing to get the vaccination adjusted to their age group, their children should also receive the same vaccination adjusted to their age group. It's a one-way street there. They're both the same, and there's no refute to that. The next one I will be arguing is denial. Parents do not vaccinate their kids because they believe it can lead to autism and other disabilities. This is absolutely not true. There are so many research and studies on this that show no correlation to the vaccination and any disabilities of any sorts. A majority of the parents that don't vaccinate their children due to this claim are generally insufficient in scientific knowledge. They believe the government's out to get them almost, or they don't know the whole process behind vaccinations and that we know every single thing that goes into vaccination. Alternative casualties. So anti-vaxxer parents claim vaccinating their children will put them in grave danger due to the unknown components in the vaccination. Not vaccinating their children during a worldwide pandemic may put their entire community, state, and country in grave danger by risking everyone's safety, not just their child's safety in a vaccination that we know specifically what's in it, how much of that is in it, and if it's good or bad for the body. Vaccinations decrease the viral load and the ability to pass the virus from person to person. So if one person gets it and gives it to another vaccinated person, they may or may not get sick, and if they do, it's very minuscule. If that person gives it to an unvaccinated person, the viral load will not decrease, and it can be passed very rapidly and may even triple in exposure. The federal government has very, very strict rules on approving vaccinations and making all of them as safe as possible, while knowing every ingredient and exactly how much is in such vaccination. The opposing's argument against the vaccination mandates for children under the age of 18 due to safety concerns is not a valid reason to not vaccinate children, not in today's scientific era. We know way too much. We have too much proof says otherwise. After researching and discussing both sides to this policy, I will gather all my knowledge and conclude the points I have made. The state of Idaho should mandate vaccinations for children under the age of 18 for 3 reasons. First, mandating vaccinations would reduce the risk of contracting common and life-threatening illnesses. Second, mandating vaccinations would give every child the right to the best health possible. And third, contrary to the opposition's claim that mandating vaccinations are not made for children and are therefore unsafe, though time and time again the U.S. has proven that they are in fact safe for everyone in so many ways. By mandating vaccinations in minors, adults, and others will benefit from increase in health and decrease from spread of infectious diseases. Thanks, guys.